in the valley, the Lord will show up. And sometimes it's through people. And I think a lot of people are on their knees in the hoping and the wishing. Perhaps they're even feeling like that now. And it wasn't when they were 12, or it wasn't when they had kids. I know for me, a part of my massive shift in God actually getting my attention finally and surrendering, like we talked about out the gate, was when I had two tiny babies, a 1 and a 2-year-old. And the Lord was like, you need to wake up, because on your tombstone, it's not going to say entrepreneur. And if you keep acting the way that you are, it's also not going to say wife or good mother. And so you need to make a decision on how you want to live your life. And so the fact that you went through, you call it this hard knocks experience of getting your PhD on the streets and having like real rough situations transpire to the point where you are stabbed, and having that life or death situation, you chose life, even against the will of the people who are surrounding you. And that is sometimes the hardest. It's that peer pressure element of doing what we have to do because others expect you to do it. And I know as a leadership guru now, as a trainer, as someone who helps Fortune 500s come to life, a lot of which are connected to sales, it feels really strange to say, how does this life experience catapult you and drive you into entrepreneurial fruit, like literally the incredible businesses in which you've been able to develop? What would you say is the heartbeat of what was to what is now?
Service. It's service. It's fascinating because I've had so many opportunities, in my career. I'm a turnaround specialist by trade. So I started, by screwing up this is another message. Whatever you screwed up in the past, you can certainly help people avoid those things, right?
So good. Yeah.
I mean, I've been hired from, people that have graduated from Harvard and Yale and Wharton School of Business, hiring a dropout, ex junkie and drug dealer. And the reason is because they're hiring me for my failures. They're hiring because they want to avoid those things that I experienced. And it's interesting because now I've been exposed. Then I bought my own companies and built them and sold those back in 2019. And, a whole bunch of really, really amazing things has happened, but it didn't start happening until I understood that joy exists in sacrifice and service of others. And it's a hard one, that we talk about the baptism and dying to the flesh. And also it's really dying to the ego, right? The things anytime we think that the things that we're doing and we're doing them for ourselves, it's the difference between selfish and selfless is the entire life gap that people need to jump. And sometimes it doesn't seem like that because you're like, Jason, that's great for you to say, you're doing and all this other kind of crap, but I've got rent due in 3 days and I don't have the money. I've got a husband beating me. I've got, my child is on drugs. There's all these kinds of things. And what I found in my own life to be true for me was when I got out of that poor me, that why me, and just even in the littlest, tiniest place, who else is hurting? Who else is hurting worse than I am? And start to figure out how to, salve their pain and serve them. That's when I started to really experience joy. And so I became addicted to that. I became addicted to serving other people at a super high level. And that creates an entirely different result or outcome in your life when you get addicted to the right things that I think Jesus wants us to be.